You know, that model that the Father lived out. You know, his only, if you wanted to decrease it to one thing, all he really did was have an exceptional understanding that he lived. All the other information, you could say everybody else brought it, but not any of these people. They want to give credit to the Moors, the Circle 7 Quran, Buddhist literature, because at the 60s, Buddhism was coming here too. You know what I'm saying? Krishnamurti was here, and Krishnamurti was saying that we were God when they would ask him, but it wasn't a core of his teaching. It was about letting go in the mind and thoughts. Nation of Islam had the teaching. Elijah had it. Right? Fard had brought it. But only the Father was saying, like, this is what we are right now. The most simple, profound, and the most difficult to actually do. You know? Everybody else that was teaching, all these other disciplines I said that was colliding at the time in the 60s, they were living a reality as a righteous person that has a level of enlightenment and insight to explain. But they weren't living under like, this is what I am, I know what I am, and I'm telling you with proof, this is what you are. Nobody did that. Osho was here, killing it, you know what I mean? Krishnamurti, all those people, Thich Nhat Hanh, who, right? I talked about him many times, right? When people talk about mindfulness, meditation, being mindful, that's really him. That put that in this cipher of America where they talk about that, you know, like mindful eating, or you know, doing everything mindful, mindfulness walking, like that's really a term that Thich Nhat Hanh made really like go here in America. You know.
I'm trying not to interrupt the God.
Peace, God. And but it was really the Father that was actually bringing an understanding of who we actually are and saying that's what you are as well. And I can show you, and then you can prove it. It's the only one. You compare it to all the spiritualities that were colliding in the 60s, it's the only one. You know? Even though he's not the only one to say he was God. Some of them said they were God, but they didn't say why, so it didn't apply to, maybe I might be, you know, the listener. Right? There was Meher Baba, and he was saying that, you know. He had said that he was God. And he had some good insights too. His books are really profound too, that he was having written then. You know?
That's interesting you say that because, you know, 5% has been the most loudest with it. So it seems like we're the only ones that say, we're God. They're like, you know, like, question be like, who else is, where else, where you getting that from that you said that you God?
Yeah,
like,
because during that time of like the 60s where it was more open and Woodstock or whatever, and I'm just using Woodstock as a catchphrase to symbolize the era, a lot of the East started to come here, you know? And that was led by Paramahansa Yogananda, who wrote Autobiography of a Yogi. It's a great book. And he came here after he went throughout India speaking to great teachers. He spoke to a young Gandhi, many people. Then he eventually came to America and spoke with who he felt were great thinkers and philosophers here, including white people too, by the way. It wasn't just original people. And it's a great read, by the way, Autobiography of a Yogi. I have it though. It's in the library. Anybody, you know? But none of those were really giving detail the way the Father was, you know? Although a lot of the Eastern, especially from India, they were coming to the conclusion that man is God. But they didn't really have proofs because the way it worked in their systems, people weren't asking for elaboration. You know? Again, they were like a lot of religious systems and spiritual systems where even though you came to that realization, the real quest was salvation for your reality in that moment. In other words, you're trying to escape the reality of being in this Western world, capitalism, whatever it is, you know? If you notice the Father, he wasn't trying, in fact, he had no problems, like, I'm not trying to get you to escape from anything. You know, he wasn't like a Taoist mountaintop, you know, like you get this knowledge, now you live on a mountaintop. He didn't do any of that, which is in, you know, so he didn't have those type of answers for people anyway. So he didn't draw up those type of mystical leaning people. You know what I mean?
Here's a system to get you through what you're dealing with.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. Cause,
Down.
and I find that most profound, because what he saw, if we really are God, then we really made everything that we live in. The Creator makes creation, and Creator must live in it, and if Creator finds it wrong, Creator must create anew. So he said, if this thing is wrong, then you're going to have to embrace it and change it yourself. You know? This is why I think some people misinterpret and say he wasn't a revolutionary. No, the Father was a revolutionary. The stuff that he's saying is revolutionary. It changes the paradigm of what is. That's what revolution means. You know?
Just not in the sense of what it was.
Right.
Everybody
It's
else.
not a sense of forcing a mental takeover and a physical takeover of what people are dealing with at that moment, because he felt that the mentality of the people, if that changes, everything else changes. And that's not what's unique about. What's not unique about that is that it's similar to the schools of ancient philosophical thought, like Chinese thought, like Confucius thought, where they really felt like if man changes himself, everything else follows the order. You know what I mean? Just like at the higher levels of Neo-Confucianism, after Confucius, they really thought that if you have good governance on top, that leader will set the trend for everyone else. You know what I mean? And of course, that gets manipulated in places like America with democracy. You know what I mean? Where people think like they'll behave properly if we have a president like Obama. We'll have everybody behave properly. And in many respects, right? You didn't see much black revolution during Obama's time.
Not at all.
He had people behaving. You know, just his imagery, his way of speaking, everything like that. It was, he was a great speaker, very calming, all that kind of stuff. He had all of the attributes that they needed at the time. Right? But to rile up everyone, get everybody on the side of changing things, Trump was good at that. You know what I'm saying? So that concept that the people follow the leader, though, is very Neo-Confucianist, but it's very true. You know, the people do follow that order in general.
You must do your own research, as I did.
If Mega did this.